we got some more legacy. We have Jordi on the play. He's playing lands. He starts off Grove, not Growth, Grove with a V into an Elvish Reclaimer. Jordi is a lands player of some renown here in the Netherlands. And then on the left, we are still with 2019 Dutch Open Player of the Year, Seba, who right now is really feeling the Player of the Year happening. It happens. That's alright. He starts us off on a misty rainforest playing Sultai Midrange. Now this is an interesting matchup. I honestly, I'm not too familiar with how lands actually lines up against like the different archetypes of Magic decks. I'm not really a Legacy player at heart. I love Legacy, don't get me wrong. I absolutely do. But I am, first and foremost, a Modern player. But that's alright. That's alright. You know, we'll make it work. Seba playing a polluted delta and passing, it seems, which does Jordi that he is clear to just activate the Reclaimer. That Wasteland is not really gonna be worth it this game, I think. If Seba can just play 2 fetches and sit on them, or who knows. Jordi deciding, you know what, I'm just gonna take the initiative here. I'm not gonna wait for my Wasteland to actually do something. And Seba's like, okay, if you're not gonna Wasteland me, I'll just fetch. Which is fine. Yeah. Grove means that Jordi is also playing Punishing Fire. I would imagine. I don't see why else he would be playing Grove. Well, I mean, it's a Taiga that you can't actually fetch for, and it gives your opponent some life. And you know, this isn't Modern. We actually have Taiga, so speak of the devil, and we get a Life from the Loam from Jordi. And this is really the part where the land stack just really comes into its own. Unfortunately, Jordi lost his Reclaimer, but that's probably fine. That Wasteland is looking pretty brutal right now. Seba deciding to take care of the Grove here. Doesn't want to worry about the Punishing Fire that's inevitably coming. I mean, it would have been nice to gain some life, but nah, that's not worth it. Second Wasteland. Just keep firing them. That Field of the Dead from Jordi is not going to do a lot for quite a bit. That's a Valakut exploration, I believe, and 2 crop rotations. That's not the greatest of dredges, I have to say. So Seba has managed to create a small window for him to do something. The Field of the Dead is not really going to do anything for a while. The crop rotations and the Valakut exploration going to the graveyard mean that Jordi is most likely going to stumble here for a bit. I mean, as much as you can stumble with being able to Wasteland every turn, but that's yeah, the Force of Negation coming out here for Seba means the Wasteland plan is on a bit of a break here, and now Jordi needs something. Thespian Stage is something, but he also needs Dark Depths. I think I just saw Dark Depths, but I'm not actually sure about that. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's sitting on 2 Dark Depths. So Jordi is actually sitting pretty good here. It looks like Seba might be missing a couple land drops. That's not what you want to be doing here. Land's just pressuring your mana base. Like, this is one of the obvious draws of Legacy, right? Just the interactions with things like Wasteland, things like Brainstorm, Delver being 30% in the meta. Although we'll have to wait and see how that shapes up with Modern Horizons 2, because Endurance is looking like a hell of a card. It is I believe, 4 mana, 3/2. I believe it's 3 generic and a green. Jordi here making a Merit Lage in response to Brainstorm. Looks like Seba might have an answer here. Love to see. Yeah, Endurance. I believe it's 3 and a green. It's a 3/4 creature with Flash. You can also evoke it by exiling a green card from your hand, and when it enters the battlefield, it shovels your entire graveyard. It shovels a graveyard back in. No, at the bottom of the deck it was. Yeah, the bottom of the deck. So it's pretty good graveyard hit as well, as that Merit Lage is putting in some work. But it also has reach, which a 3/4 reach is actually very relevant in a format where the premier threat is a 1 mana 3/2 with flying, as one might imagine. But yeah, Seba not being able to answer that Merit Lage as we go into game 2. With both players keeping their 7. So far it's been somewhat of a rough night for Seba. Yeah. Not really looking too great. You know, it happens. Sometimes the stars just don't align. You're just getting smacked around your LGS all night. It happens. It happens to everyone. Also, Sultai, I don't know in what kind of place Sultai Midrange is right now, because I know that a lot of the slower 3-color, 4-color blue decks right now aren't doing too great. This is definitely a deck that's on the slower side. The blue decks that seem to actually still be doing fine before we go into Modern Horizons 2. Of course, Delver. Expressive Iteration was an absurd card. And we seem to be getting the resurgence of a variant of Band Control that is now actually playing Abundant Harvest to cut back on lands, which is really interesting. Able to play 19 lands and still cast Uro on a reasonable budget. seems like we have a rather slow start from Jordi here. The Schadenpoort. Alright. Seba brainstorming in his end step, looks like. Because I would imagine Jordi just porting here during Seba's upkeep. Quickly that. Yeah, Abundant Harvest, one of those mystical archive cards that doesn't. It's also in Modern Horizons 2, but it isn't actually modern legal until Modern Horizons 2, which is weird because the mystical archives are from Strixhaven, which means that for the purposes of Legacy, Vintage, and Commander, the card is actually legal, but then doesn't get into Modern until the very next set, with just a couple of weeks between them, which is strange. You're already porting the tropical island of Seba here. Seba playing a Verdant Catacombs and fetching. So he does get to shuffle away one card, it seems. Gets an Underground Sea. Then cast Tarmogoyf. Let's present some actual pressure. See if he can do something to make Jordi actually commit to the board, which, spoiler alert, I just saw Jordi's hand a bit. If you noticed, Jordi seems to have a Maze of Ith, so that Tarmogoyf is not looking too great here. Ooh. Also seems like he has a Karakas, but Karakas doesn't really seem like a relevant card to match up. Actually seems to have two Karakas. Yeah. Pretty sure he does, but yeah, Maze of Ith coming down. Gonna keep that Tarmogoyf out of combat for as long as Jordi needs it to be out of combat. The port out again tapping the tropical island. I forgot one fetch. Yeah, that Tarmogoyf by itself is not going to do a whole lot. Jordi just sitting solidly in the driver's seat here. And it happens, you know? It happens. Mana. Looks like a Scavenging Ooze and another Polluted Delta. That's Scavenging Ooze art, though. Ow. Yeah. Because of the way our LGS has games set up right now, I basically have to pick one player at the start of the evening who then spends three rounds on coverage. So I usually try to pick the better players, and Seba is absolutely one of our better players. Like, no doubt about it. No questions asked. Yeah, sometimes you just... It just doesn't work. It seems like this might be one of those evenings where it doesn't work. Oh, I also haven't seen this match before. I figured casting was going to be far more interesting with just games I hadn't seen yet. Games I hadn't played yet. Which, of course, when I decide that we get a random player on coverage, it ends up being me for the first night. But, you know, it happens. It happens. Brainstorm coming out from Seba here. He's probably going to need to start looking at maybe an Assassin's Trophy. Try and take out the maze. Looks like a Sylvan Library. Sylvan Library might help him find something to do here if Jordi doesn't try to close out the game. Don't quite see that. I see Polluted Delta and Baleful Strix, yeah. Well, Seba thinking maybe he does want the Baleful Strix as a blocker against the Merit Lage. Yeah, he does. Didn't quite catch what the other card was, but does top a Polluted Delta and something. Decides to keep the Baleful Strix, decides to keep the whatchamacallit, the Sylvan Library, and plays out the Baleful Strix. $17. Oh yeah, because the Goyf came out of combat, of course. Silly me. Thinking Tarmogoyf actually did damage. No, Tarmogoyf doesn't do damage. Tarmogoyf is just... He's pretty, he's expensive, and he's probably a great blocker, I would imagine. Let's see, we got instant, land, I think there's a ponder in there, so he's a 3-4. Sure, we'll take it. Not that it matters at this point. Seba decides to take his draw. Could have shoveled it away. Attacks with everything. Thespian stage is a Mace of If. And starting to look like a prison deck here. Sylvan Library coming down. Life total not entirely irrelevant. Like, the difference between 20 and 21 can be pretty insane. But the difference between 18 and like a math 2, probably not as big. Grove coming down. No, wait, we had the Grove. Taiga coming down. Jordi is still able to protect his life total, but doesn't really have much else going on, honestly. Is he holding that mountain upside down? Yeah, he's holding that mountain upside down. That offends me on so many levels. Like, that's more offensive than him playing a choke here. Him holding his cards upside down in hand. Wait, are they sleeved upside down, or is it just switched? It's like some are upright, some are upside down. Whoa. That is disgusting. Jordi, if you're watching this, what the hell is that? Okay. Seba forcing the choke here. And Jordi pyroblasting the force, so that choke does seem like it's gonna resolve. Now, Seba does have some answers against this. Sylvan Library is most likely gonna help him find those answers. But this is not the spot you want to be in. Your creatures aren't doing anything. Your lands aren't doing anything. Except for the Bayou and the fetches, of course, but... Yeah, it's just the mountain. is just the mountain that's upside down. I think it might actually be upside down inside of the sleeve. That okay? What's going on with that, Jordy? If you're watching, tell me what is going on with that. Put it in the comments, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that wants to know. That don't make no sense. Okay? Like, I gotta know. Saba deciding to draw 2 cards, it seems. Ooh, and that wasteland, that's pretty important. Taking the thespian stage, of course, because the thespian stage still has the ability to become a different land. Maze of If is just really obnoxious. Tarmogoyf still not in combat. Both players are 13. Like, and now, despite having a Maze of If, a Rishon port, and the choke, Jordi actually not looking too great. Like, he's not doing anything. He's staying alive, but that's pretty much it. It does look like he has the Dark Depth, so that Thespian stage was still there, then he could have actually gone for it, but now... Like, maybe Seba is actually pulling himself out of this, I say, as the wasteland comes down. Just knock on some wood. Knock on some wood. For those of you among us who aren't superstitious. Wait, am I an idiot? Is that card I thought was a mountain actually just a Caracas? That what's going on here? Okay, maybe I'm just an idiot. Just ignore my entire rant about that upside down mountain. It's a Caracas. False alarm, people. False alarm. Jordi is just a normal, decent human being. There's nothing wrong here. Okay, maybe that's going a bit far, but no, he's cool. He's cool. I'm just gonna stop talking about this now. just ignore it. Seba taking his turn, looking at the top 3 cards of his deck, and thinking about whether or not he wants some extra love here. I mean, he definitely wants some extra love, but is he seeing some extra love? That's the question. Oh boy. We're just gonna pretend that didn't happen, as I just continue to keep talking about it. Looks like Seba here is thinking about drawing an extra card and going to 9. He might be considering whether or not he wants the 3rd card before he shuffles. Doesn't look like he takes it, so he goes to 9 live. Seba keeping up the pressure. Jordi keeping down the Tarmogoyf. Goes to 10. Yeah. Just Seba just trying to inch out the kill here. Jordi needs to start doing something, and he's not. Seba fetching. Interesting. Okay, so what could Seba have here? Assassin's Trophy would be nice. Getting rid of the choke, or maybe the Maze of If, but I think if he was gonna get rid of the Maze of If, we're doing during Jordi's end step? I mean, if he was gonna Assassin's Trophy, he would doing during Jordi's end step, right? So it's probably not that. What else? Something sorcery speed? Not sure what that could be. Just the schools. Okay, just putting more pressure on the board. Seba not actually having answers to what Jordi is doing here. So I say, you know what, I'm just gonna ignore it. Field of the Dead. Is that 7? 1, 2, 3. Elvish Reclaimer coming down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think that is. I think Jordi gets a zombie here, right? Yeah, he does. Pretty good. And now he also has 2 blockers. Now if he taps the Goyf, then Seba is still attacking for 5. Now he could kill a Goyf with a zombie. Yeah, this is not looking great. And having gotten the zombie, Jordi decides, you know what, I'm gonna wasteland your only. No wait, he has 2 by wasteland, one of the actual relevant cards. That is a Life from the Loam on wasteland, and the wasteland gets surgical. So Jordi reveals Life from the Loam, Dark Depths, Caracas, not Mountain, and Jordi, it looks like, is going to be able to make an army of zombies, and he has the Elvish Reclaimer. Now, Seba might be able to answer the Reclaimer, but he would still be left with the Field of the Dead, making a bunch of zombies, which is it's still really bad. It's probably better than just play a Dark Depths. Elvish Reclaimer gets a Thespian stage, and now suddenly you're dead. So Seba is gonna need to find something here. He's gonna need an answer to the Reclaimer, or else he's just so dead here. And then after that, he would really like an answer to this Field of the Dead. That's a tall order. Besides, not to draw extra cards. Is he? 5? Yeah, I think the 5. Sure what I missed there. And for a moment it looked like Seba was actually going to be able to pull this back, but now I'm not so sure. Yeah, there's just no creatures. These zombies are just free blocks for the schools. The Tarmogoyf gets taken out of combat, and now you're hitting for 1 a turn. Whereas your opponent is just sitting here with a Field of the Dead and an Elvish Reclaimer, and I gotta imagine if like the moment Jordi plays the Dark Depths, Seba might just concede. Doesn't even play the Dark Depths, he just draws the Thespian stage. Gets a zombie. Maybe Jordi decides, you know what, I'm not gonna open myself up here to getting blown out. I'm just gonna play the long game, which right now it's on Seba to actually do something, you know? I know what it was. I probably missed the fetches. Makes sense. Seba getting underground siege, just more islands. Still a choke on the field. He might actually now go and answer the choke, but he may not have the time to actually answer the choke. That's the problem. Is Seba not untapping the Bayou? Or no, it's just getting ported straight up. Fair enough. Oh no, he decides not to port the Bayou, he decides to port the Trop. Which, yeah, that's way more effective. Seba looking at the top 3. Uses his card draw and has his turn. I think this game is over. Oh, too bad. Yordi just decides to get a second field. Play it safe. There's no pressure here. Just very clean play from him. Doesn't get greedy. Doesn't try and go for something cute. Doesn't. There's no need to make a Merit here, so why bother, right? Draws a Pyroblast and this. Yeah. So yeah, interesting game. Interesting game. Yeah, like I said, at some point it just seemed like Seba was actually going to be able to find a way to pull back, but it wasn't meant to be. Oh, you get those games sometimes. But yeah, we got a couple more games coming. We got 4 more games of Legacy coming before Modern Horizons 2, and then we start Modern Horizons 2 in Modern. Now, we get a decay on the choke. And then Seba untaps with all his mana. We'll see. Maybe this game isn't over. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit. Maybe Seba's able to pull something out. Even plays Days. Ponder. Gonna look for something relevant. But he sees the Reclaimer, he sees the Dark Depths, he sees the Thespian stage. Not many things here that could help him. Yeah, 4 more videos after this. And then we get Modern Horizons 2. Now, we have had Modern Horizons 2 on Moto already, Magic Online. And so far it's looking like it's shaking up. Well, at least Modern. Modern looks like almost a completely different format. There's a couple decks that are holding their own, but just going into like Steamer Shardless or just the food decks. It's craziness. Legacy is looking a bit more stable, so we got that. That's good. There are a few crazy cards for sure. Ursa Saga is just the absolute nuts. Other than that, Endurance might be the answer against Delver that everyone has been looking for. As Yordi activates his Reclaimer, sacking his port. Not going to get that much value out of the port at this point. Figures, you know what? I'm just gonna try and close out this game. He knocks over my camera. It's fine. We can still see. But yeah, Legacy is looking a little bit more stable, but we're gonna have to wait and see. I think Delver is gonna experience a bit of turbulence. It's just in the way the deck is constructed and in the matchups, because Endurance, again, it's just such a good card. And it's not like Endurance is just good against Delver, because again, it's also just graveyard hate. It's not the greatest graveyard hate. Like, if you're playing against a graveyard deck, you usually prefer Leyline the Void, but just having 4 Leylines that you can just board in against Delver. That's insane. So we're gonna have to wait and see. But exciting times coming up. Exciting times, definitely. This beautiful upside down mountain coming down. I don't know, man. I don't know. I said I'd stop talking about it, but I can't help myself. It's right there. Seba taking his turn, resolving library. Why are we still playing here? Are we playing like conceit chicken? Like, is Jordi gonna attack first or is Seba gonna concede first? Because if that's the case, we'll just go to the next video. Starting to look that way. Seba's probably like, okay, yeah, if you're not gonna finish me, I'm gonna try and actually play a game. Draw an euro, gain some life. Tell Jordi you should have finished me when you had the chance. Not sure what he's scared of at this point. Like, just attack. Are you dead in the backswing? No, you're not dead on the backswing. Not even close. You got Maze of Ith, you got Thespian Stage, you got plenty of mana to just quickly make a second maze in case you need it. Like, I think Jordi might be playing a bit too cautious here, otherwise that's just bad manners. He's probably a bit too cautious. And Seba is happy to take advantage of that. Jordi taking up Blast Zone. Looks like he might... No, he's gonna activate the Reclaimer. Is he? Yeah. Then why is he tapping? Oh yeah, he's tapping the Blast Zone because he's adding counters, of course. He's just really late on it. We get a third Field from the Dead. Field of the Dead. Doesn't matter. And like, I'm here just to see it through, you know? I can call it and end the video and leave it at that. I'll just keep rambling. I love rambling. Some people might think is, oh, because you love to hear yourself talk. Nah, I don't care. I just hate silence, you know? Fortunately, I'm here by myself. If there was anyone else who could talk or had something to say, but thank God, it seems like Seba is putting me out of my misery and himself as well.